Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode, number 5, Cuatro, if my Spanish serves me correctly. Of,
Cinco.
shut up, Zach. Of, it's a great thing about working with a smart ass, and you gotta love it. Love you, brother. Anyway, damn, dude, you stumped me, bro. Of it
It
just means
just
less.
means less.
It just means less with Tabak and Warren. Oh, dude, if you live close to me, I would TP your freaking yard. I promise you. You have revenge
Good, I'm
porn.
almost out.
Huh?
I'm almost out.
Well, I'll leave an extra one on the front porch. So
There.
look, Zachary, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, man. We're recording on Friday, the eve before the last 2 days of you know the college football season as we know it, not including the national title. Today we're going to be talking about the recent signing by the Red Sox. Scott's excited about it. I'm fairly excited about it. Then we're going to talk about what's going on with Russell Wilson in Denver, and as well with Joe Flacco. We're going to throw some flowers his way. And then we're going to break down the college football playoff games coming up on this upcoming Monday.
Right on.
And after that, we have time. We're going to talk about the remaining New Year's Six Bowls. Right now, we have Missouri playing Ohio State. And Missouri is only down 3-0 against Ohio State's backup quarterback. An absolute snooze fest.
Jesus.
So, I mean, listen, the game's within reach. Anything can happen. It would be a big win for Missouri.
Huge.
But that's the lineup for tonight. So, Scott, how are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing good, brother. I got some good news for you. You ready for this? It
Yeah.
is 44 days, 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 50 seconds until pitchers and catchers report to Fort Myers, Florida, at Fenway South.
God willing.
Praise Jesus. We're almost there, baby. Less than the 2-month mark. Yeah, I'm excited. And our first point tonight is gonna talk about Giolito's signing. I mean, look, can you really complain about this? I mean, seriously. His stats from 2023, he pitched 184.1 innings and has 204 strikeouts. I mean, his lifetime ERA is not exactly what I like to see, but 4.43 lifetime as compared to, let me think. Oh, yeah, just about everybody in our being better than just about everybody in our bullpen last year. I'll take him. It's an improvement. And with our new pitching coach in Boston, we're going to see what he's made of because, if you have a good pitching coach, a player like Giolito, a good arm, we should see a difference. And the same applies to Paxton too. We should see a different Paxton. Of course, Paxton's stamina and how long he'll be able to go is a little bit of a question. But overall, man, I'm excited about the move. We need one more big arm for the rotation. Hearing a lot of good things about Jordan Montgomery and Blake Snell. I do know through the grapevine that the Mariners are pretty hard and heavy on Blake Snell right now. But long story short, man, I'm excited about Giolito. I really cannot. I don't have much to complain about other than the fact that pitchers haven't reported yet.
Right. My take on the Giolito thing is that I felt like he, had a great 2019, decent 2020, even though it was a lockdown year. He was a favorite to win the 2021 Cy Young. That whole White Sox team fell short of expectations. So what I'm hoping is that, we're able to get him to get his ERA down a little bit. I love the strikeout numbers. The strikeout numbers are good. He stayed healthy last year. He can't help the fact that he was a suitcase last year. Angels made all those trades trying to make the playoffs with Shohei, and they ended up cutting like three of those people they traded for.
Right.
So the whole Giolito thing, I just hope he gets his ERA down. Now he doesn't fit the for me the label of being a reclamation project. He doesn't fit the the pattern that the Bloom era had, where 2021 it was Garrett Richards and last year it was Corey Kluber. In 2022 was Michael Wacha. Michael Wacha ended up being really good for us. Waka Waka But 2023, it was Corey Kluber, and this feels very similar to the Corey Kluber thing.
It does.
But one thing that um, Giolito has going for him, though, is that he still has his arm, that he still has the strikeouts. Corey Kluber didn't have that. But Paxton, you mentioned Paxton. I don't know if he's confirmed yet. I don't know if there's a deal in place. I know that we're basically the only team talking to him. But I think if you get Paxton Giolito, that's okay. But if it's just Giolito right now, or even still, why not just load up the deck? Let's not, like, we're always talking in sports. It's the best players, it's the best teams. It's not the most deserving, right? Me and you've gone back and forth with that. Hi Fenway. But the get the best players available and don't break the bank in doing it. I love the contract that they gave him, but it feels like there needs to, like, as Columbo would always say, just one more thing. We just need one more guy. And I think, I'll feel a lot better because
Right.
everything else will fall into place. You
Yeah.
know. So I'm excited. It's you don't have to put your eggs in anyone's basket,
No, you
too
know.
much now. Because you got a guy
Yeah.
that can
Yeah.
contribute.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is that offensively, I would like to see another bat come in. But I mean, honestly, we've got a team that can post runs. Of
Yeah.
course, we still want the dream of a second baseman, but I mean, we can post runs. I'm not really worried about that, like literally at all. You know, so it just kind of is what it is here. But if we have a good bullpen and a lot better rotation than we had
Which we
last year,
should.
we're not going to finish dead freaking last with a losing season. I'll say that.
Yeah. And you talk about second base. The fact that old ass Justin Turner was playing second base and he wasn't a liability last year, I don't know why that guy's sorry. I don't know if he's on a team yet or not, but I don't know why we haven't offered him another deal.
Right. Well,
But
there's a
I
lot
think
of questions about our front office that I need answered right now.
yeah. I think they want to let a lot of the kids play next year, which is all well and good as long as you're winning. Next point of contention, you wanted to talk about this guy specifically. What the hell is going on with Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos?
Well, it's like this. They're protecting his health. Let me say it this way. They're protecting his health. He's getting traded. He's going somewhere else. Um, him and Sean Payton apparently are not getting well with each other, or not getting along with each other well at all. And Peyton kind of has a history that it's my way or the highway. But once again, I'm going to reiterate: show me a team that has a losing record, and I will show you a coach that will not adjust his playbook to the tools he has on the field. I don't care what level, I don't care what team, but Russell Wilson, if you adjust your playbook to fit his style of offense, they're not in the position that they're in right now. Granted, the offensive line lackluster, but still, my theory when I played football, and I'm 6 foot tall. With my helmet, cleats on, I'm 6'2", 6'3", depending on how much air I put in the helmet. May or may not have been a thing. But my theory is that the average offensive play lasts 4.3 seconds. And my mentality is when I stepped on that field, I don't care how big the guy is across from me is. I have 4.3 seconds to piss him off and stay in his freaking way. And that's what I did. Yeah, miss some blocks every once in a while. But the bottom line is that I could stay in somebody's way for 4.3 seconds. I don't care who it was. And that is not what is being taught right now. And I think if you had a little bit more of that mentality as far as offensive blocking for Russell Wilson, might be a lot better story. But regardless, he's being put on the bench. I know one particular Seahawks fan that's happy to see this happening, but at the same time, it's I hate to see it happen because I like the kid. He's a good Christian guy, and I don't know that I have mixed emotions about it. I hope he's moving on to somewhere better. I've heard rumors about the Steelers. I've heard rumors that he might be going to Atlanta.
Or
So yeah, there's that.
right. So here's my feeling. I think it's bullshit.
Yep.
Um, the Denver Broncos started the year 1-5.
Mhm.
They're 6-7 right now. Or no, what are they? They're 7-8. If they win out, they're most likely a playoff team. Just the way I'm looking at the tiebreakers and stuff. So Russell Wilson, he's gotten sacked 45 times. So yeah, that is an offensive line issue. He's thrown 26 touchdowns against 8 interceptions. That's a pretty decent ratio for a team that has a losing record and started as bad as they did. He's thrown for 3,000 yards, and he has almost 400 yards on the ground and 3 touchdowns. The dude is playing his game despite the fact that the playbook doesn't really suit him. So you look at the playoff. Right now they're sitting dead last. If they lose, they're done. But the fact of the matter is, why are you benching the one guy that is, carrying you offensively? Your run game's not that good. He's your only hope in hell in making the playoffs. And they have Indiana ahead of them at 8-7. They got Houston ahead of them at 8-7. Pittsburgh ahead at 8-7. We know Pittsburgh's probably going to lose out. Cincinnati's probably going to lose out or lose one more. But you're sitting here pretty at 9-8, and you have a chance at least at that last wild card spot. If you take them out of the lineup, unless if it's low scoring games, you don't have a chance at making the playoffs. So this is really, despite the fact that they're in it this late, there's 2 games left in the season. They're gonna punt on the season because they want to trade him. It doesn't make his value look better.
No.
It does nothing to help you get a better package for this guy if you're trying to trade him. For him, it definitely seems like it's more of a him issue, like he just doesn't want to play for them. But at the same time, Denver's one of the dumbest front offices in the NFL. It would not. These are the guys that drafted. I think his name was Paxton Lynch because he was 6'7" out of Memphis, and the guy was an absolute bum. This is the same franchise that gave up on Tim Tebow, despite the fact that he was actually not that freaking bad. All right, he's not. He wasn't a bust. They're the same team that rode with Brock Osweiler. Like, who the hell are these guys?
Right.
And now you're gonna put Jarrett Stidham, the guy that couldn't even hold, Tom Brady's jockstrap, you know, in New England. He was a bum at Auburn. He was a bum at Baylor. And now you're gonna, when you have a chance to make the playoffs, you're gonna ride with him. That's just stupid, in my opinion. The Denver Broncos deserve to lose out.
Yeah.
And I'm light or no, Joe Flacco's the comeback player of the year. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. I mean, dude gets on a freaking plane. Okay. I don't know if you saw the post on Twitter, but dude gets on a freaking plane and he asked Joe Flacco, he said, "What are you doing, flying coach? Where are you going?" He said, "Watch the news tomorrow, son." I mean, yeah, can you really just look down on that statement? That's just badass.
It's so baller. He's played 5 games this year. He leads the team in passing yards. He has 8 interceptions versus 13 touchdowns, which isn't that good, but who cares? They're winning. Like, it's just they lost Nick Chubb, right? I don't even know if Myles Garrett is healthy this year. Amari Cooper's resurrected his career. And we're talking about the Cleveland Browns being an 11-5 with a 38-year-old quarterback that was jobless 2 months ago. Less than 2 months ago. But no, but you know what? Here's the thing. Browns are gonna Browns next year. And instead of, saying, Joe Flacco brought us to the playoffs, we're clinched. They're clinched, okay? No, let's just go with the sex offender at quarterback, again next year. Let's go with Massage Boy.
Yeah.
But they're the first team in NFL history to start 4 different quarterbacks in the season to make the playoffs. So for the first time in the Cleveland Browns history of playing multiple quarterbacks as starters in a season, they have probably their best season since Bernie Kosar was slinging it.
Right.
35 years ago.
Yeah.
So you want my Patriots are out of it. Your Cowboys, you don't trust them. Your Saints, they're out of it. I'm I'm rocking with the Cleveland Browns this postseason. I would Cleveland rocks. I'm rocking with Cleveland. Joe Flacco is the comeback player of the year. I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, I want the Mar Hamlin to win." Listen, that's a very sentimental story. I'm glad he's okay, but the fact of the matter is, if we're talking about stats, we're talking about impact on the game. No one comes close to Joe Flacco except for maybe Baker Mayfield, but I feel like Baker Mayfield never really left. Damar Hamlin has 2 touchdowns in the season. There are 10 long snappers with more tackles than him. So, sorry to piss in people's Cheerios, but Joe Flacco is your comeback player of the year. And I'm rooting for a Detroit and Cleveland Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, dude.
Let
I
someone
mean, would that or would that not be in the top 3 or 3 to 5? Let's say top 5 of the greatest sports stories in our lifetime. To see Joe Flacco come in out of nowhere and take the Browns to the Super Bowl.
win it,
Just
definitely
to
top
the Super Bowl. Just get them to there. I mean, that right there alone.
right. I guess it depends on how they play in it. That I think it's definitely a top 10 NFL story. Um, but I'm excited. If we get into Detroit, I want to see some team break their streak of not having a title
Yeah.
this year. Like whether it's the Dolphins that haven't won it in forever, the Cowboys that haven't won it in forever, the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are dead in the water. I think the Eagles. The Eagles don't scare me. Um, so we're gonna see a really weird Super Bowl matchup, or we're gonna wind up with the Eagles and the Chiefs, and we're just gonna go to the movies instead of watching the damn game
Right.
because anything's better than that.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So up next, we got the college football playoff on Monday. Monday. It's Monday Night Raw. It's the college football playoff. It is the thing that we've all been waiting for you know since the season started back in week 0 in the second. I think it was August 24th was the first game that happened.
Yeah.
Probably the most even college football playoff we've ever had. 'Cause
And
you can argue that any 4 of these teams have the resume and the players that could win a national title. I don't think you could have said that last year.
no,
I don't think you could have said that. I mean, yeah, I can't remember the last time that we could sit here and say all 4 of these teams, if they win, we're like, okay, some more than others. But the first game that's going to be kicking off for the college football playoff is going to be Alabama versus Michigan. Alabama is a subject of controversy. I've come to terms with it that they're in it. Jalen Milroe really had a bounce back year. Currently Michigan is favored by 1.5. I don't understand that. I mean, I don't see any team winning by 1 point. I mean, granted, we did have one semifinal last year that ended with a 1 point victory. But tell me who's your impact player for this game?
Jalen Milroe.
All right.
I mean, that's cut and dry. I mean, you know, look at what this kid's done. And we talked about this last weekend, week or two before that. I mean, he comes in at the beginning of the season and gets benched because he's just not playing with.
Bench for
They
a
go
lacrosse
through,
player.
yeah, and they go through they go through 2 backups, and then all of a sudden he comes back, looks at Saban in the face, "Hey, coach, you know, I'm your man." And Saban says, "Okay, you're my starter." He puts him out on the field, completely. I mean, difference of night and day from what he started at the season. Um, Alabama finished stronger than any college football team that I've seen in a long time. Uh, I mean, for a team that comes out and slips up against somebody like Texas and then turns around and wins out. I mean, yeah. Last team I saw do that was the year that Ole Miss upset Alabama. Alabama went on to win the national championship. Happened again, I believe, with Oklahoma. Ole Miss beats Oklahoma, and Oklahoma goes on to win the national championship. I
That was
mean,
2000, right?
something like that. Yeah, this is but that's a thing. I mean,
Ohio
this,
State in 2014. Remember they
yeah,
lost to Virginia Tech in opening weekend at the Buckeye Stadium.
yeah,
They won out and they won the national title as a
yeah,
4 seed with a third string quarterback.
yeah. And in my honest opinion, what you're seeing with this spread that we've got right now is it's just some cooking by Vegas. I mean, sorry, but I will be absolutely freaking shocked to see Michigan beat Alabama. I truly would. And I'm not just being, biased here because I'm an SEC fan. I'm being truthful. I mean, SEC football is a complete different monster than any other conference in the country.
Yeah.
I don't think Michigan has the tools unless they've been stealing signs there too. Yeah, I went there. But at the same time, you know, I wouldn't be shocked if Alabama's got their signs too. So we'll see. It's going to be a hell of a matchup. The other game, on the other hand, Texas and Washington, you know, Texas is favored by 4 points. And I mean, I don't really know how. Penix Jr. is going to show up and he's going to show out. I don't think Texas has seen a quarterback like Penix. I really don't. Um, so my pick to go on to play in the national championship is going to be a Washington Alabama game, which will make for a hell of an offensive battle. Notice I didn't say defensive; I said offensive. Looking forward to seeing it, and I may or may not be throwing some money at these two games because, quite frankly, all the other games you got to sort through who's going to the transfer portal, who's declared for the draft, who's going to play, who's not going to play. Hell, I saw on ESPN today where Jay Daniels is he's not even sure if he's going to play for LSU or not. I mean, you know,
He's
where's the
not.
loyalty? Where is
He's
the
not.
freaking loyalty? Where is it? It's not there.
They'd be better off if they, asked if they recruited Chester Cheeto instead. The cheetah from what's that? What's that? Cheetos. Yeah, yeah. The cheetah from Cheetos. I mean, they both got the same smile. I mean, might as well. But my thing with Bama and Michigan, I don't know, dude. They played 2 games all season. You
Yeah,
want to talk about strength of schedule. I mean, can you just because they both finished in the top 10 doesn't mean they had a strong schedule
right.
with Michigan. Just because they beat Penn State, just because they beat Ohio State, doesn't mean that they had a strong schedule. They played me and you talk. They played with their food way too much in
Yeah.
the opening games. They let like 4 teams cover the spread that were a lot less than them.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow JJ McCarthy finished top 10 in the Heisman voting. I wonder who was greasing whose wheels on that. But Blake Corum is the truth. That kid is going to have a really long career in the NFL because he's one of the toughest runners we've probably seen in college football at volume since Derrick Henry. Now he doesn't have the speed of him, he doesn't have the size,
No.
but he hits hard. And he's only going to become more of a threat in the passing game once he gets to the NFL.
Yeah.
If you want to say he had a Heisman moment, it probably would have been against Penn State, where he was playing with the busted nose the whole game. Took off the helmet, he's bleeding, doing his post game interview. That was right after Harbaugh got suspended, by the way.
Yeah.
He's the truth, and if Michigan has any chance at winning this game, it's going to be because of him. Because Alabama has a great pass rush, but you look at JJ McCarthy. I think he has 2,600 yards in the season. So they're going to be pounding the rock. They're going to be doing a lot of read options. They're going to be doing a lot of end arounds and tosses. So I'm not as excited about that game because I don't think Michigan should be number one. I'm biased. I compare and contrast their numbers with Florida State. What?
Ohio State just tried to kick a field goal and banked it off of the damn upright and missed.
It's still 3-0?
Still 3-0.
What the fuck is going on?
It was a good snap. It was a good hold. He just hooked it. It's like there's a
He has a
magnet
good kicker
freaking upright.
too. He's
Yeah,
a good kicker.
I know. He literally just banked it off the freaking left upright, dude.
That's so stupid. Um, I got Alabama in this game too because they got enough on offense. Like if Jaden Milroe stalls out, they're still gonna have the better running game. I think. Um, I think it's gonna be a low scoring game though. I'm taking the. I don't know what the under is, but if it's less than 50, I'm taking the under.
Yeah.
Because this, I think Michigan is the most of the northern teams. They're the most SEC-esque of the northern teams
Yeah.
because of how they control time of possession, because of how they play defense. You know, remember before they started doing the air raid spread stuff when Joe Burrow got popular in Tua, you saw a lot of these games where it was like 17-10
Yeah.
every week. It's going to be that type of game. But
45 is the over under.
I might take the under on that. Yeah, I really might,
63 and a half is the over under for the Texas Washington game.
It's gonna hit. It's gonna hit the over. And I'll tell you why, because Texas is gonna get their ass handed to them. And I'll tell you why. This is the first college football playoff team that I can think of, probably since Michigan State. Michigan State going back to 2015. Where I don't think they had a Heisman contender that contributed to their success. I mean, you could argue it's Devondre Sweat, the defensive tackle, because of how he, played defense.
Yeah.
His numbers don't really reflect it. Big whoop. He caught a touchdown against an injured ass Oklahoma State team. But on offense, Quinn Ewers doesn't wow me. I don't even know who the running back is. I mean, I know they had Bijan Robinson the last 2 years, and he was a freaking game breaker. If they had Bijan Robinson, they'd probably win it all, just because it's that type of system. But you said the over 66 or 63.
63.
Yeah, no, that 63 is going to be a 45-20 victory for Washington because Washington is going to show up and shred them because they have a running game. Now, it's not because of Michael Penix. The dude has negative rushing yards on the year, but they have better special teams. Roma Dunze is probably one of the best, probably the best overall, like, all-purpose guy in the country, in my opinion, because he could make, he only had one carry on the year, and it was a 25-yard rush, I think, to kick a game-winning field goal to go 12-0.
Right.
So, I don't know if Michael Penix is going to be the game breaker because he's shown up, he's made the clutch plays, but he hasn't really had that explosive game, and that's what really killed his Heisman hype. I think Roma Dunze is going to be the game breaker for this Washington team, and I think they're just going to demoralize Texas, and everyone's going to be sitting here like, okay, maybe Texas was the TCU of last year that we're all worried about.
Yeah.
The same reason why they kept Florida State out. Texas only got in because they wanted to justify putting Bama in because of the head-to-head victory. So, we're sitting here pretty, and we're just like, all right, we were wrong about Texas, but Alabama's in there, so it's everyone's going to forget about this game as soon as it happens. And then you got, I think that'd be an Alabama Washington game, a rematch from 2016. Which I think, that was a fun game. Even though that, Bama did win by, I think it was 14 points. This is a different Washington team. That's a different Alabama team. This Alabama team is not as dominant, but they find the ways to win. Most importantly, we saw that with, how they won against Auburn. They needed a Hail Mary to win that one. So I think I got Bama winning against Michigan, and I got Washington blowing out Texas.
I'm good with that.
All right. So we got a little bit of time left. We're gonna. So tonight we are talking about the snooze fest that's happening in Dallas, with the Cotton Bowl. Is it still 3-0?
Bad snap over the quarterback's head for Missouri. He recovers it. Loss of 8 yards. This is just this is a clusterfuck.
Okay, so right now when I'm looking at this is 11-12 in the third. They had 6 first downs each. They're even on total yards pretty much. Actually, Missouri has more yards. But here's the funny thing: they have 74 total passing yards. It's an even game. Penalties not that bad. They have no turnovers. It's just, we were talking about Ohio State's defense, but let's give credit to Missouri's defense. Granted, they're playing against a backup quarterback. Wait, just a minute. They've had two different quarterbacks for Ohio State tonight.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know his name. 33 kid. He went out with a twisted. He screwed up his ankle, so he's been out. I think he's kind of been back and forth, in and out. But
wait, they had a quarterback with the number 33.
Yeah, he is noticeably limping on the sidelines. Oh my God! Sack.
Whoa, you're not kidding. 33 as a quarterback?
Well, they got two 33s. You got one on defense, one on offense.
Yeah, but usually they're 20 or less. I think the highest quarterback number I've ever seen for a full-time quarterback was Doug Flutie when he wore 22.
Yeah.
And you want to go back to the 40s, Tom Harmon for Michigan, he wore 98.
But, this kid's a backup. So, what do you expect?
I expect them to have a quarterback number because quarterbacks are,
right.
They're privileged and they're entitled, and they,
Well, Missouri's punting again, so we're about to see who's playing quarterback for Ohio State. But dude, this game is freaking. This is bad.
I can't wait to put this on after we get off, which we will be doing in about 10 minutes because we only have 3 more games to talk about. Is it only 3 games? Yeah. All right. So let's go with the game that none of us really give a shit about. The Fiesta Bowl, 23 Liberty versus number 8 Oregon.
Come on, Liberty!
Come on, Liberty!
Hell yeah!
The spread is minus 16.5 for Oregon.
Dude, Oregon Ducks have fucked me all season long. They are not predictable. When I pull for them, they screw me. When I pull against them, they screw. Seriously, I am done with West Coast teams. Let's go Liberty.
Dude, if Liberty wins, you know how many of their stupid ass fans are gonna be trying to claim a national title at 14-0?
Oh yeah, no shit.
Whatever, dude. I'm not excited for that one at all. I'm more excited for the game that's happening adjacent to it at 1:00 is the Citrus Bowl between Iowa and Tennessee.
What the fuck?
What?
You're not even gonna. What are you talking about, dude? The number one game tomorrow. The number one game tomorrow.
Oh, I'm talking about a different. No. Different game. We're talking about New Year's 6 games. We talked about the one that we don't give a shit about first.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
This one's on January 1st. So instead of watching Liberty, Oregon, I will be watching Iowa versus Tennessee. The rightful Heisman winner will beat the Volunteers, and it's gonna be lovely. But yeah, no, Liberty is, has one of the worst strength of schedules in all of college football. Even though that SMU lost to Boston College yesterday, I think SMU should have been that team. Yeah. It definitely would have been a good look for them since they're going into the ACC next year.
My loyalty lies with the SEC, so I got to pull for Tennessee.
Okay. So who do you got in the Fiesta Bowl, though? Who do you got in the Fiesta Bowl, though?
I don't give a shit. All I hear
Liberty versus Oregon.
Well, you just heard me say Liberty.
Okay.
Yeah, Liberty's a no-brainer.
All right. I got Oregon in that one, but I don't give a shit really.
Who does?
Except tomorrow at noon, Peach Bowl, Chick-fil-A, Jesus Chicken. Let me hear you talk about it, baby.
White boy celebration dance time. All right, here's the deal. Ole Miss Rebels, baby. This is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Penn State, they don't have 2 of their key defensive players. Just correct me if I'm mistaken. And these are key defensive players. One of them is their star defensive end. The other one, I think, is a cornerback. Who gives a shit? Doesn't matter. They're not in the SEC. And they're going to find out what SEC football is all about. Now, if I end up eating my words, this will not be discussed on the next podcast recording.
No.
We're not even going to discuss the game if I was wrong, but it's a big damn if. Hotty toddy, baby. Hotty toddy. Ole Miss will beat Penn State Nittany Lions tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern.
Burn. I got the same thing. Penn State again. Um, same syndrome as Michigan and Ohio State. They didn't really freaking play anybody. Their left tackle, Olu Fushanu, is my wish list target for the Patriots in the NFL draft. He has not allowed a single sack in his college football career, but I don't think it'll matter in the end. Ole Miss is going to win this game, and they're going to do it in style. And Lane Kiffin for Coach of the Year for the SEC though. All right, let's pause real quick. I got to run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, I'll just keep talking.
Wait, hold up. Let me play it then. All right, go ahead.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up right now, guys. I'm gonna pull up the Penn State Ole Miss game. I'm really curious to see a schedule here for Penn State. Penn State's schedule for this season has been they opened up with West Virginia. They beat West Virginia 30, 38. Oh, get my glasses on. 38-15. Penn State beat Delaware 63-7. That's a nobody. They played Illinois 30-13. They beat Iowa 31-0. Penn State beat Northwestern 41-13. Then they played UMass 63-0. Ohio State beat Penn State 20-12, and right now scores 3-0 still against Missouri. So I mean, what the hell? Kind of tells you where that's going. Michigan beat Penn State 24-15. Seriously, America? 24-15, Michigan beat Penn State. But Michigan is picked to beat Alabama Monday. This makes no freaking sense whatsoever. Skip the Maryland game. Who cares? Penn State beat Michigan State 42-0. Okay. So Penn State can put up some numbers, but I mean, I honestly think Ole Miss has something for them. Ole Miss has the momentum going for them right now. Ole Miss is on an upstroke right now with everything happening with the transfer portal. That's going good for them. And I mean, so yeah, that's just the way it is. I do not see Penn State beating an SEC team that's ranked similarly to them. I really don't. They haven't played anybody. They really haven't. I mean, like I said, the Ohio State game is a prime example. I mean, Ohio State's against Missouri, who, Missouri has been horrible up until this past season, and now they're struggling to even score a touchdown. I mean, so yeah, I do not see Ole Miss being threatened by Penn State tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Central Standard, 12 p.m. Eastern.
I don't think it's gonna be a blowout for Ole Miss.
It's not. It's gonna be a hell of a game.
I trust that defense. But at the end of the day, the Sandusky apologists will be crying in the shower tomorrow afternoon.
Oh God, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. All right, one last game. It's a game that I'm on the eve of it. I'm feeling a lot more hopeful than I probably should. A lot more hopeful than I did, a week or two ago. It's Florida State versus Georgia in the Orange Bowl. One of the things that has been inspiring me is seeing the brotherhood amongst the Florida State players, those that have stayed, that haven't entered the transfer portal, that aren't, going to the draft and opting out of the game. You're seeing a lot of posts on social media, and they seem like they're ready to go. And, with a guy like Mike Norvell, I trust that, they could be playing Middle Tennessee tomorrow, and they'll just be as ready to go. But let's I just have a weird feeling in my stomach about this game. Like it's either going to be, the blowout that we're all expecting, or you talk about top five, top 10 college football stories. If Florida State pulls this off with a bunch of underclassmen, it's going to be David versus Goliath tomorrow. Um, I'll be super stoked. I mean, for me, in all reality, the season kind of ended on December 5th when they voted us out. Um, but I know they're motivated. Georgia's motivated to put on a good game. I know Florida State's motivated to put on a good game. I know they're still gonna have a lot of their good pass rushers. They still have basically all their good defensive backs. Um, their offensive line is one of the best in the country, and they're all there. They're playing with a bunch of backup running backs, but those running backs have speed, and I've liked what I've seen when they have played. They're a 6'7" tight end. You know, it's gonna take a will and a prayer, but I'm making it a priority to watch that game no matter what happens. So yeah, go Noles, baby. What's your take on the game?
I don't know what to think about this game. I mean, of course, there's the Cinderella story part of it that I would really and truly, even though I know, and Jason Peavy, if you watch this, just take a deep breath, check your pulse. It's okay. Just hear me out, because I think even Jason will have to agree with me here. What a story to be told for the ages to come, especially for Seminole Nation, if the Noles slip up and beat Georgia. I mean, you talk about an emotional underdog that the Cinderella story that everybody should be pulling for. This would be it. And if that takes place, there will be such a fallout. Okay. Such a fallout because everybody already thinks. Here's the trick. Hear me out. Everybody already thinks that the NCAA and the CFP is completely full of shit. Everything's political. Everything's about income. That's just all there is to it. Everything is about how much money the NCAA can get brought in and stuff their pockets with. Okay. So, are you honestly going to try to convince me that those referees don't already have instructions tomorrow? You watch. If Florida State makes a showing, you're going to see some flags start flying, some questionable flags start flying, and they're going to do everything they can to keep Florida State pushed down so that the NCAA does not become even more exposed
To save
to
face.
the mafia type behavior that they exhibit on a daily basis right before our very eyes. But we overlook it because everybody's watching the shows on ESPN. It's just everybody's watching all this stuff, and all it is smoke and mirrors. That's all you're seeing is smoke and mirrors. Okay, even Paul Feinbaum. I mean, he was like, "Well, it makes perfect sense." Blah 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 blah. He has recanted, and he has changed his mind. He has a whole new tone now about what happened to Florida State because and Zachary, you pointed this out. This makes zero fucking sense. 0 cents. If Florida State is taken out of the top four for the college football playoff because of their injured quarterback, why in the fuck are they ahead of Georgia in the standings?
Why are they 4 after beating Florida?
No sense. Makes no sense other than the fact that it's all about the ratings. What makes a better story? Nick Saban coming back out of nowhere, beating number one Georgia and winning the national championship, or just doing what the fuck is right and giving undefeated Florida State a fighting shot to earn a chance to earn what they damn well deserve. Period.
Right.
I mean, the only thing that they're missing before all the portal and the declarations, for the NFL draft. Only thing they were missing was their starting quarterback. Well, the backup quarterback came in and put points on the board. It wasn't a lot, but that damn defense stepped up every single week after the starting quarterback went down. That defense stepped up. They showed up and showed out. The defense is what won those games for the rest of the season for Florida State, not the quarterback or the offense.
And with Florida State's playing with house money tomorrow. You win, you get validated more than anybody's ever been validated before. It's bittersweet, but at the end of the day, at least someone's going to vote for them for a national championship.
Right.
And they're going to be able to claim one. Like, there's a metric called the Coley system. It's the same reason why UCF was actually legitimately able to claim a national title. If they're the only remaining undefeated team, and say, like, Alabama is the team, like, say if it's Alabama and Texas again, and Alabama wins, and Alabama wins, technically that system will put Florida State as the national champion. But we're not talking about technicalities here. The fallout is, they're playing with house money. They'll get validated. They'll be in my number one at the end of the day. I'm going to get a national title shirt. I don't care, right? The thing is, there's going to be so many big losers out of this. One, the SEC, because you kept justifying trying to put them in.
Nope.
Put in an SEC team over these guys. And they go out there with a bunch of backups, a bunch of replacement players, and they beat the two-time defending national champion. Boom, SEC's a loser. 2, ESPN, they're losers because they kept being ministers of propaganda and telling us why Florida State didn't deserve it, and they got shoved straight up their ass. Mainly Heather Dinich, Kirk Herbstreit, and Paul Feinbaum. Number 3, the CFP. The CFP will know that they got it wrong because Georgia barely has any opt-outs, and if Florida State wins, you cannot tell me that they would not have a fighting chance against anybody else. They could have been playing the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, and they still would have a shot.
Yeah.
And number 4, the NCAA. Just because in general. And number five, there's 5 losers if Florida State wins. They have nothing to lose. Except an undefeated season that's just been tainted by a bunch of political bullshit. The number 5 loser in this is the ACC, because the ACC has not done nothing. We're going to talk about this in another episode. They have done nothing. What happened? Another missed field goal? Missouri touchdown?
Almost. They just aired it out and got it down to the 15-yard line, 14-yard line.
All right, good for them. Missouri. So they have done nothing to help Florida State. Florida State is the bread and butter of the ACC. Without Florida State, they'd be nowhere. Granted, you have Clemson winning 2 national titles in the last however many years, but Florida State is what put the ACC on the map in terms of football. Before then, it was just a freaking basketball conference, and that's all it is now because the ACC has refused to go on to bat and has refused to defend Florida State. All while, do you know what they've been doing? They've been electing inferior members to join their conference so they stay within the threshold so they can stay faithful to their bullshit CBA licensing, whatever marketing agreement that they have with ESPN. Why the hell is SMU playing in the SEC? Why is Stanford playing in the ACC? It's the Atlantic Coast Conference. Yep. Why is a team in Texas and 2 teams from out in California playing for the ACC? That shit makes no sense. And the ACC could go fuck themselves, because the fact of the matter is, if Florida State goes in and wins this game, the fact that they're in this position in the first place, if this was Clemson with Dabo Swinney, and they were 13-0 and they didn't make the college football playoff and they were playing with some fucking bum, if Trevor Lawrence was hurt, they'd be going to bat for them. Mm-hmm. But no. Instead, Florida State, they're taking them to court in the next year. We'll talk about this later, but they want to charge them $500 million to leave your shitty ass fucking conference. Blow me. Do you want the people that run the ACC should be taken out into the street and fucking tarred and feathered? It's bullshit, and eggs thrown at them. Eggs from the Hokies from Virginia Tech.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jordan Travis said when they announced that they were left out of the college football playoff, he said, "I wish I broke my ankle sooner so they would realize that this team is more than just a fucking quarterback."
Yeah.
And worst comes to worst, if the blowout happens, okay, you tell me you told me so. But then I'm gonna like look at all these fuckers that aren't even playing for us. But if they win, it's gonna just get shoved up everyone's ass with no Vaseline.
Yep.
Go Knowles.
Can't argue with that, buddy.
Take us out, man. I'm fired up.
All right, y'all. It has been another great week. Enjoyed spending time with y'all. Thank y'all so much for welcoming us into your homes. We greatly appreciate it. Please like, share, follow, give us comments. I mean, we look forward for any input. Anything you'd like to hear us talk about, look, we are all ears. We're there. We are looking over the next few weeks to having a couple of guests come in. I'm trying to pull some strings.
At least one.
Trying to pull some strings, huh?
At least one in the next month.
Yeah, at least one. And I'm also trying to pull some strings in and bring some interviews in the house. Guys, hey, we love y'all. We appreciate you. Looking forward to seeing what happens this week in the CFP. Looking forward to seeing what happens to my Ole Miss Rebels tomorrow and Penn State Nittany Lions. And guys, hope y'all have a safe week. Happy New Year. We'll see you next year.
Just one more thing. It's go Celtics or go fuck yourself. Let's go, baby.
Fair enough, brother.
All right,
y'all have a good week.